You are listening to episode 33 of the BBL show. I am Jay Marriott. He is Drew Lasker. Congratulations to the Leicester Riders who secured the 2020-21 BBL League title yesterday. Any thoughts on their achievement, Mr. Lasker?
Nothing besides respect. I think when you reflect back on years to come, no one will forget this season because it's been the longest, shortest season ever, with so many ups and downs, and whichever team came up on top, they deserve all credit. So congratulations to the Leicester Riders, even though it hurts me, but you know.
There's a little knot in your stomach, but you're happy for him. That's good.
You know.
Okay, T-shirts. T-shirts are done. They are on their way to our competition winners. Drew will have one soon as well. So we'll see who gets it in the post quickest. Maybe there can be somebody that's second instead of Drew. You will soon be able to purchase these T-shirts as well. If you like what you see, then look out for that soon, as well as some other little merch items that are coming up. Today, we bring you a member of that freshly crowned championship team, Leicester Riders guard forward Mustapha Heron in the house. We will have the week's scores, and top performers, player of the week nominees, hot topics where we go crazy for some May madness, and we discuss the Birmingham Raiders, the Lasker Lookback. But first, your social media spy, it's the Marriott Minute. Okay, yep. Intrigued me. May Madness is nearly upon us. The league announced an exciting playoff schedule that will see Sky Sports coverage throughout and centralised venues to combat the dreaded COVID. Some Plymouth Raiders news, as it was announced Prince Ibeh and Denzel Ubiaro have left the club. Ibeh due to a family bereavement, and Ubiaro pursuing an opportunity to feature in a movie here at the BBL show. We wish them both well. This then followed by the news Turkish owners are considering their option to leave Plymouth. Frustrated by their current home venue, the Plymouth Pavilions, hiking up venue costs, they have decided to fight back, with Birmingham seen as a possible destination. Could we see the Birmingham Raiders? Cheshire Phoenix, Coach Thomas, I saw you. A little IG post of our early league standings predictions with Andrew Thompson got posted with the quote, "Fuel for the fire." I'm sure Mr. Alaska agrees that we are always happy to be wrong and see a club do well, but it's important to note that there were 5 new additions added to this team that marked as scraping into the playoffs, or Mr. Lasker had them far off the playoffs, just for context. But well done, Coach Thomas, on some great recruitment and turning their season around. Engage me, reading a fantastic interview with the General, Gino Crandell, with Sky Sports, as he expressed his thoughts around the George Floyd case and how he supported his community in Minneapolis by delivering $30,000 to $40,000 worth of food to those in need, attributing the pandemic and the protests surrounding Mr. Floyd's death with making him even more accountable to helping those people in need. A great read that you can find the link on the Leicester Riders Twitter. Tola Okiki of the Worcester Wolves sent a letter on social media following up the words of Farrah Gordon for the league and community to keep striving to do better and do more as we look beyond taking the knee and what we can do next. Very well written and inspirational to see athletes using their voice throughout this season. Finally, London Lions, Justin Robinson saying, anything Teddy Okorafor can do, I can do better, as he will be writing for the Daily Star on all things basketball. Congrats, Justin, and we can't wait to read it. Okay, amused me. Now, I'm not going to call anyone out because this has happened a lot. We love the engagement on socials. We appreciate it. But make sure before you go in, listen to the show. So many people diving in headfirst and left with egg on their face by not getting the bigger picture. Come on in, sit down, we won't bore you. You may even have some fun. Listen first, tweet after. Okay, lastly, Donovan Johnson of the Manchester Giants came for some social beef with the show, highlighting reference our defensive MVP that Justin Satchel had 36 on the Leicester Riders, suggesting that one big performance made Riders, now league champions, a bad defensive team. I've said it time and time again, the starting base for these conversations is winning above all else, and for me, one of the best defensive teams in the league just won the crown. Thankful for the input, Donovan, but it's a no from me and a safe flight home. To squash the beef, I'm happy to share my BBL player login so you can watch the playoffs. And that ends this week's Marriott Minute.
Wow. Pow, pow. Shots fired.
It's all in good fun. I don't mean it.
Oh, man. Great minute, man. And yeah, some good stuff in there. Firstly, congrats to Justin Robinson. And just think about this season, all the great things that guys are doing off the court. It's been probably a monumental year in that regard. Also, to Ben Thomas, I did see that as well. I replied in his DMs immediately, and we had some back and forth talk about that. So I actually gave him some props. I said, was that locker room material that you were using? And basically he was like, I'm not on social media a lot, but
he's a great guy, man. He's
it
good.
was good. We had a great conversation, but yeah, moving on to scores and ballers of the week. In the final stretch of the season, action begins Wednesday in the nation's capital. Lions versus Riders in a big tiebreaker decider and possible league decider as Riders can become champions on London's home floor with the win. Dirk Williams says, no. Coming up big with 29 points and 6 rebounds as the Lions keep their league title alive with the 86-81 victory. Thursday, Glasgow Rocks visit the Phoenix and Cheshire blows away the Rocks 85-69. Jalen Hayes goes to work with 19 points and 4 steals. Friday action begins in Surrey as the Scorchers need a win to keep the pressure on that 8th and final playoff spot. After being up 15, Sharks rally back without Kipper Nichols in this one to keep their eye on the 5th spot, winning 86-78. Big fella Koch steps up in this one with 22 points and 12 rebounds. Newcastle visits the Wolves, and the hosts without Brandon Anderson and Mike Parks Jr. hold on without their 2 Yanks, closing this one 92-87. Fresh Kemble puts up a career high 27 points and 3 assists. A couple of miles away in Bristol, where it's a must-win for the Flyers against their rival Raiders, but Plymouth gets the sweep, winning easily 96-75, with Mike Morcell capping it off with 23 points and 4 rebounds for the visitors. Finally, over at Morningside in our Sky Game of the Week, Riders win easily, emptying out their bitch, defeating the Rocks 93-67, making the Magic #1 for the league title. Our guest, Mustapha Heron, goes off with 26 points and 10 rebounds. We move to Squeaky Bum Sunday, where we have 5 games on a slate and a lot on the line for many teams. The day did not disappoint as we begin in Glasgow, where they host the Lions, who need a win to keep their title hopes alive and make the bold decision to sit out Robinson, Liggins, and Ware. But that's why they have so many soldiers. They hold off the Rocks 73-68 with Okoro stepping up with 13 points, 5 rebounds, and Rocks head off to the offseason. Raiders hosting Sharks in the final home game of the season, and they continue to get it done, winning 79-76. Ricky McGill with 19 points and 3 rebounds. The win secures the 3rd spot for the Raiders, and Sharks secure the 5th spot. We head to Cheshire Oaks, where the Leicester Riders look to win the league title with the win. This was no contest as Riders win easily and become league champs, going away 97-65, and Rad Pastanastro ties Kevin Cato for second all-time with 5 league titles. In Manchester, the final 8th playoff spot is up for grabs. And what a game as Bristol Flyers win this one 83-81. Eric Lockett with 19 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. And the Flyers secure that 8th and final playoff spot. Finally at Virtu Motors Arena, where the Surrey Scorchers look to sweep, but possibly the MVP of the league would not let it happen on his watch, finishing with 34 points, 9 assists. And his Eagles end the Scorchers season 87-82. And that wraps up this week's league action.
Man, great job, Mr. Lasker. Player of the week. There are no nominations. Becoming champions of the league yesterday, we felt it was right, as we did with the cup competitions, for player of the week to be the top performer in that game. That was Darian Nelson Henry, 19 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists for a 32 index. An unsung hero in this Riders group, the anchor, the leader. Congrats to you, Darian, and the team. Unfortunate, though, for Fletch, who had a big, big night last night. Okay, let's change the flow a little bit. We know it's the velvety voice of Mr. Lasker as we go to the Lasker Lookback.
In this episode of the Lasker Lookback, let's take a moment and celebrate the Leicester Riders and their great accomplishment of winning the league title. You ask most people, and they would say the league is the most impressive trophy out of the 4. Looking at the overall body of work throughout the season, it'd be hard for me to disagree. Coach Rob Pastanastro continues to move himself in the elite level of coaching in British basketball, as his 5 titles move him level with all-time great Kevin Cato, as they sit second most by any coach in the British Basketball League. Who's first? Well, some guy named Flav Flournoy has 7. In 33 league titles, Eagles and Riders make up for more than a third, as they have a combined 12. The league's oldest club secures their 16th trophy in all competitions. But as we move on to the BBL playoffs, which should answer the question of who is the best team of the 2020-2021 season? Since the first time since 2004, we have a different winner for all 3 trophies, and the 7th time in the league's existence. If Eagles, Riders, or Lions win the playoffs, they get the title of the best. However, the other 5 teams in the playoffs will have something to say about that when an opportunity makes it more of a bizarre season, as it would be the 3rd time in the history that 4 teams have won a trophy. No pressure, guys. But if you're a betting man, you might want to put your money on the Leicester Riders, as they have won the past 3 consecutive playoff finals, making it truly May Madness. See you in the playoffs. And that is your Lasker Lookback.
And great look back, Mr. Lasker. Nice Riders flavor. So let's get inside the locker room. St. John's alumni and Leicester Riders guard forward, the lefty, Mustapha Heron. Welcome to the show, Mustapha. How you doing?
Good. How you guys doing? Thank you.
No, really good. Congratulations, BBL League champion. How does it feel?
Feels great. I mean, it's been a while, since, I've been competing on the court and everything. So it's definitely been a while since I won something. The last time I won something was my sophomore year in college. We won a conference championship in the SEC when I was at Auburn University. But I mean, the winning feeling is just, it's unmatched. I mean, definitely it feels great.
Yeah, what was that bus journey like, man? It's been, we had a cool experience getting back on the bus because obviously we won at your place. London had a bus journey. So what was the bus journey like last night?
Oh, it was great last night. Nobody was quiet, I don't think, for longer than 5 seconds on the bus at all. So, I mean, it was great.
Yeah, I'm just a little disappointed that there was no IG Live, man. You had to keep the tradition going.
Yeah, I guess COVID protocol and everything. I don't, how that goes.
How long did it take Coach Rob to dry off after that drenching he had?
I think it took him a good while. It was we got him pretty good. We definitely got him good.
I love it. Okay, so let's work back a little bit. So I want to talk about college. So you started at Auburn and then transferred to St. John's.
Yeah.
Why the move?
Originally, the move came about because the summer of 2017, my mom had gotten a really bad concussion. So I'm from Connecticut, which is about an hour and a half away from St. John's. So in order for me to be closer to home, I was when I was at Auburn and she was going through her concussion, I was flying back home, kind of trying to take care of her, do things like that. So it kind of just got a little hectic, going through the season, going back home on certain weekends, and then we have maybe a Tuesday game that I have to get ready for, but just a lot of back and forth movement. So I kind of just sat down with my coaches at Auburn. They were fully understanding of the whole situation. I was able to get a hardship waiver going into my junior year so that I didn't have to sit out right away, so I could play right away. So it was a pretty, smooth transition and worked out for the best.
Yeah, speaking of transfers, there's been a record number of transfers this year, and I just want to get your thoughts on the new rule that they put in place that you don't have to sit out. What are your thoughts on that?
I thought that rule should have been in place from the very start. I don't think that you should hinder a kid for, wanting to have a new experience. At the end of the day, we're all kids that are going through different experiences, coming from different walks of life. And then, the big argument is, if Mike Krzyzewski leaves Duke, he doesn't have to wait a year, if he wants to coach at Cal or, anything like that. He can go coach right away and, get paid and do all of that stuff. So I think that, why try to hinder a kid from, having a different experience?
But do you think that kids start skipping out on the adversity part? Once a little adversity hits, they'll move along?
I think that people kind of downplay the adversity that there is throughout the season. Just on a day-to-day basis. I think that if a kid goes through a full season somewhere and he or she decides that they want to transfer, I think that they probably, in most cases, if it's in a situation where there's a lot of headbutting with the coaches, they probably had enough adversity that they've gone through in a calendar year is a long time to be playing basketball, early morning workouts, weightlifting, class. So you kind of get a whole year's worth of stress under you. So I think that that's enough time to say, I want a new situation.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's super interesting. Look, obviously, you've had a great college career. Some really impressive stats, which I'm sure you had a lot of European teams come knocking. How come you were sat at home for most of the season? Did you have an injury?
Yes, I had going into my senior year, I played in the Pan Am Games, Lima 2019. We came in third place. I ended up getting an ankle injury. It started off as a lingering ankle injury in about August, and then I re-injured myself in December. So I was kind of playing hurt through most of the season, and then I ended up just calling it quits in February, deciding to sit down with my family, my coaches and stuff, and decide to get season-ending surgery. So I was out of commission for a good 5 or 6 months, just kind of working myself back into the rehab, process. And then about the end of the summer, I would say, is when I, first started getting healthy. So at that point, I was just looking for a different pickup that I could play, just working out on my own, just waiting for, any call that I could get.
Yeah, we're in a space where, mental health has become a big topic. And I know for me, before my very first year, I sat out a whole year before I got my first opportunity. A previous guest we just had on the show, Sheffield Shargar, Jeremy Hensley, sat out a year as well. And he talked a little bit about his mental health. Where were you at mentally as, you waited your whole life to dreams of going to the NBA, you get this ankle injury, and now you're sat at home rehabbing. Where were you at there?
I think definitely as far as just mental strength through the last year, I think I was tested more than, I've ever been tested throughout my basketball career, maybe throughout my life. I think that, coming from, being the big name athlete, you never really missed out on, most things. Maybe you don't get an award here or there, but throughout my, adolescent life and, things like that, I've always had a schedule. I've always had things that I got to be in class, got practice, got games, things that you're preparing for. So after college, it kind of sets in that, all right, the real world, comes. A lot of guys, they're not going to play pro, things like that. So now you're working on getting jobs, doing different stuff like that. So mentally going through an injury, still trying to, find the motivation to go to the gym every day, do things like that, through a pandemic year where there weren't many rehab places open. I was doing a lot of stuff off of YouTube, Google, just kind of looking things up, things like that. So it was definitely, it tested me a lot, and I'm glad that I stuck with it.
Yeah, I think those kind of things are sent to try you. And a good example I put in earlier episodes was obviously retiring as well, because you lose, like you said, there's that routine, isn't there? You go from college, the pros, even if it's a different circumstance, it's still the same thing. It's the schedule, it's the locker room, it's the camaraderie. It's, it must have been really tough. So Riders and Coach Rob come calling. Talk us through that process. Did that happen really quickly, or was this kind of an ongoing thing? What happened there?
Definitely, it was an ongoing thing. I want to say, like, when I first got the first call, it was probably a month or two, a little over 2 months ago. I've been here for a little over a month now, so over 2 months ago, got the first call. But before then, I was just kind of just working out every day. It had been going on month 4 or 5 that I was at home, kind of just waiting on that call. I was going through different things with different agents, kind of just trying to figure out where the best opportunity was for me. And so I was going through mentally, I would definitely say I was going through it a lot, for sure. And definitely getting the call from Coach Rob, he started the process really fast. Zach Jackson was hurt at the time, so he was saying that we were probably going to need a replacement, right away. So I told him, Coach, I had been working out for a couple months now, and I haven't played in a year, so I'm ready. Whenever you're ready for me to come, I'm ready.
Yeah, and it's tough. It's tough to work out when you don't know what you're working out for. But just talk to me about how hard did you go when you knew you had somewhere to go? Was it a different level of intensity that next workout?
For sure. I mean, before getting the call, you try to, stay as intense as possible. But like you said, it's hard when you don't really know when that opportunity is coming. So, I mean, definitely after the call, that a lot more running, went into everything. And it's just like trying to get in as fast as shape as possible. But
I know.
Oh, I love it. Now look, to the casual fan, I think they would see you coming into a winning team. It's basketball, you're a great player, and boom, the magic happens. But can you explain to the listeners how easy or hard you have found it coming into a team so they're fully established, they're winning, they're rolling? Is it taking you a while to find your spots and feel comfortable? Is it still, even now you're taking some time to adjust?
Definitely. I would say I would give all credit to my teammates, and then obviously the coaching staff. From the first day, that I got off the plane, I stepped into the facility. I stepped in the middle of practice. I think my flight was a little delayed or something like that, but I stepped in the middle of practice, and everybody just kind of bought me in. We had a game against the Worcester Wolves in like 2 days, so everybody kind of just brought me along really fast. Introducing me to the system, telling me like, hey, this might make it a little easier for you. This, just showing me little hints and tips and things like that. So definitely wasn't a hard process, getting acclimated and things. I think after getting over the fact that I haven't played basketball in a while, I think just, getting that game conditioning back, that game feel, I think after that, it was pretty much, uphill from there.
Yeah. I mean, I think definitely, like, when you watch the games as well, you can see you're getting more and more comfortable. You're finding those right spots and things like that. But I think one of the things, especially like Newcastle as well, I classify into the same boat. But one of for a long time now, the beauty of Newcastle and Leicester is that you can come into the situation, and you've got veterans, you've got experience that are bought into that culture and can talk to you, and it's almost like a little bit of a cheat code, so you got a Drew Lasker there. He's like the cheat code, you can attach that guy to him, and he can go, okay, this is the system. This is where you can get this, is where you can get that. I think that's a real advantage, especially like in recruitment, to help, especially a player like yourself coming in so late, to really acclimate quickly.
For sure.
No, I like it. So, going into the game yesterday, like what was the feeling like in the camp? Like, were you guys nervous, or did you just know? Was there that laser-like focus and you just knew the title was yours?
It was more like I would say like a balance, but it was definitely more like let's go in and get the job done. I think we try to set goals for ourselves throughout the game. I think just not having certain times we catch ourselves having mental lapses throughout the game. We might get a 10, 12 point lead, and then event 3 minutes later it's a 1 point game. So I think that we focused really, yesterday on just on our defense, on, running our sets right, taking our time, being patient, getting good shots. But we went in there with a confidence for sure. I will say, I think it showed, by the way we played, that we had a certain, swagger to us. But at the same time, we were trying to work towards a goal, and then knowing that the job's not finished yet. We still got playoffs coming up. So
I wanted to see you guys sweat just a little bit, man. I looked at the score at halftime, and I was like, "Oh, they up 19. It's over with."
Yeah. I'm not sure what part of that was, whether Leicester went up a level, Phoenix went down a level, maybe a little bit of both. But look, playoff talk. You mentioned it right there. May Madness is just around the corner. As a group, what are your expectations? Like, what are your thoughts here at this time?
I think, our mentality as a group would be, the same as any other team. Is we're going in to win it all. I mean, we're going in with the mentality that it's not going to be a cakewalk. It's playoffs. The intensity goes up, times 100. So you're going to get everybody's best shot. The scouting is a little, everybody just pays attention just a little bit more to everything. So I think that makes it more fun. I think that, it's definitely I'm excited for, playoffs. I'm excited for May Madness for sure.
Yeah, it's exciting as well, like with the whole Sky Sports deal and things like that.
Yep.
Like the visibility of these playoffs is going to be much more. Are you guys happy with the draw to play the Bristol Flyers? Arguably, probably had a down season compared to last year. Last year that they seem to have taken that next step, maybe took a little step backwards. But man, you look at that roster; it's still going to be a tough game going in there.
Yeah, for sure. I think, and like the Bristol Flyers, just like every other roster, there's guys. Every roster has guys that can. I call it getting off. At any time, guys can take over a game. It's just going to be a competitive. It's back and forth. It's playoff basketball. So we're expecting to get the Bristol Flyers' best shot, and we're going to give them our best shot. So.
Man, that's exciting. Okay, so
forward to it, man.
Just to finish with, we have spent some time on MVP talk. Okay. And in our minds, in myself and Drew's minds, we've got the general, Gino Crandell, we got DeAndre Liggins, and we got Fletch in contention. For you, Gino, MVP talk, give us your best pitch as to why you think he gets it.
Most people will say best player on the best team. So, the record is there, and I've watched games throughout the season. Prior to me coming here, I watched, previous games, and I don't think there's anybody else that you give it to besides Gino. Gino has, he's put a show on the whole season. So, it's been super exciting and fun playing with him. He's somebody who knows the game. He's a great point guard. He's a leader. You guys call him general for a reason. So, I wouldn't say give it to anybody but him. But that's not biased either.
Well, how close would you say Fletcher is when he's finishing the first time in 30 years, leading the league in assists and points?
Oh, he's making a call. He's making a pitch here. Be careful, Mustapha. Be careful.
He's making a pitch. And then playing against Fletcher, he's an amazing player. He's really crafty. He's sometimes you would look at, I think anybody, who's tall, you would look at somebody who's smaller, like, I can give him a little space and then I can always recover because he's just, he's smaller than me. But he's, Fletcher's so crafty that he makes you pay for, thinking, even having thoughts in your head like that. So he's definitely somebody, he's up there as well. But I guess I am going to be a little biased. I'm going to say give it to Gino.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that battle. I think, like, for me, like, I just think those three players right there have been transcendent all season. So whoever got it, I'll be very, very happy. But I do think there's two things for me. I take Fletch for granted because he's done this for so long. And actually, sometimes Drew has to remind me. So when he talks about leading in assists and leading in points, it kind of makes me wobble, But with Gino, I think maybe for the first time, and maybe it is because of the pandemic, so we've had to become more visual as a league. But it's the first time I've seen a real star, I think, of the league for a very, very long time, where just marketability around him has just been huge. We've had him here on the show, like he's so well spoken. The more and more kind of things come out about him as well, the more impressive it is with the off the court stuff that he does. So yeah, I'll be really interested to see. And look, from our point, I think that this is just motivation that you're going to need to re-sign, come back next season and give yourself a full season and have a go at it yourself, right? Is that
for sure? That would sure.
Hey, listen, look,
it, man.
Thanks so much for your time. On a Monday afternoon after just celebrating, I'm sure you could be doing other things, but
don't worry, I don't do much.
Don't tell people
like you can go anywhere.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, where am I going to go? So let's say it again. You are a league champion. That must be a great feeling. Good luck in May Madness, and give the team our best wishes.
I will, for sure. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Congratulations, man.
Thanks, man. We'll speak to you soon. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay, all that's left is hot topics. 2 things to talk about. Let's talk exciting news. First of all, May Madness is announced. Sky Sports all over it. Your boys here at the show in the mix. Mr. Lasker, what are your thoughts?
I love it, man. Like it's a little bit of freshness about it, right? Like, because I'm not a big fan of the whole aggregate thing anyway. But I love the idea of having it at these central venues. Well, Newcastle isn't central, but because Darius Defoe and I talk often about the Birmingham days when the semifinals and finals were held at Birmingham. You have all the fans of the league migrate there, and you go out to dinner, you go out for a drink, and you just see the whole British basketball community in one place. And I feel like as a league, we need to get back to that. And this is the perfect remedy. The only thing that's missing is the fans, unfortunately. But the whole idea of it, like, shout out to the BBL. I love it. This is going to be so fun, so entertaining. And it doesn't really give anyone a real advantage. I mean, you could say the Leicester Riders once we get to the semifinals, but like, other than that, like, you really get to see who the best team is, because it's the venues are changing from game to game. So I'm glad that we're a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, so exciting, man. I can't wait. We've been chucking ideas around. We want to up our game from the 2 cup coverages that we've had as well, and just kind of move things forward. So I'm excited for the show. But yeah, congratulations to the league. Obviously Sky Sports coverage, all the way through the playoffs is going to be, really, really big for just a big finale. That's what it feels like. We go into the playoffs and we just have the fireworks. This is the fireworks, the best of the best. As you said, yeah, the sad part is it was not just quite enough time to get the fans in the building, but one of the pluses of that is it gives us a real good run to look at this in its format. Fans arguably means that, like, the venues have to work harder, et cetera, et cetera. The league have to work harder. At this point, they can kind of take a bit of a step back and really look at it as a product and see what it needs. And, I've seen all season kind of people, criticizing a little bit here and there and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we're at the start of something really, really special. So, we're going to have to go through the pains as well as the excitement, and let's just be patient with it. I think there's a lot of good things happening behind the scenes. So, yeah,
let us not forget that the women are included as well. As we do our duty here with the Choose the Challenge hashtag that we're trying to make sure we stand by. And a day after we have that feature with Siobhan and Rianne, this gets announced. So it's just poetic justice, man.
Oh, absolutely great. And also, I don't know if you've noticed, but there is going to be that 4th and 5th matchup between Rianne and Siobhan. So I feel like we need to make the, episode 2 of that
Yes,
happen a little bit
sir.
sooner, because there was a touch of rivalry in there.
It
So I'm looking
was.
forward to
I
that,
felt
you
the
know?
tension. I
Yeah,
felt it.
there was a little bit. Rianne said she wanted it. You know, Siobhan
Uh,
was interested. So I'm looking forward to that one. And I almost put out that picture where they're wrestling on the floor for the ball, like when I saw that they were 4th and 5th, but I don't want to stoke the fire too much. Okay, let's finish with something a little controversial. The Birmingham Raiders could be a reality. Both of us former players, me a coach, a fan also. So we are invested in Plymouth. Mr. Lasker, what are your thoughts that the new owners could relocate?
I mean, I'll put this in perspective for you. You know, Jay, when you travel abroad on holiday to some of these places like Turkey, where you can get things a little bit cheaper, and you know, you want to buy a T-shirt or a rug or something, and they tell you, you know, 15 pound, and you say, nah, 10, and they say, nah, and then you say, you act like you're gonna walk away, and they say, okay, 10. That's what this is. The Plymouth Raiders are not moving to Birmingham, becoming the Birmingham Raiders. If they did, they would just create a new franchise. This is just them trying to, you know, walk away to get the Plymouth Raiders to say, okay, 10 pound, you can have it. And that's all that I see with this.
Yeah, I mean, great call. I think it's a massive bluff. You
Yeah.
know, so maybe you know, this is what's the terminology again when we try and pull people in? What's it called again? Like, I can't remember what the name is. Somebody's going to call me right out on social media, but I can't remember what it is. I've got
No idea.
catfishing in my head, but it's not catfishing. Whatever they call when you're trying to pull people in for on a particular topic, I think it's a complete bluff. What I
Yeah.
will say though is, like, with these things, you have to be careful, because even as mad as it sounds, sometimes how far does a bluff become a bluff? You know, and if you end up in this real standoff, and just to be, I've tried to put myself in just a business hat. So take away, like, you know, just go to Daniel Routledge's Twitter. He'll know how biased I am when it comes to the Plymouth Raiders. He puts it out every week. But just
Facts.
take a step back for a second. Just be a business. You're not what I call like a regular BBL franchise that is trying to take steady growth. You are a team with money. Yeah, so you're in the same echelon as the London Lions. What they're trying to do, they want to go to Europe. They want to, you know, bring in the best players. I'm sure they want to build on players like Ashley Hamilton. They've looked after Andrew Lawrence, so I'd be shocked if he wasn't going to be in the picture there next year as well. You've got the NIA arena just sat there just waiting for a European night to happen. Like, if you're a business person, and then also the other thing I got to say about that as well is, like, how many of the league would vote for a Raiders game only being like an hour or two down the road instead of all the way down at the very pinnacle of the Southwest, you know? So they would save the teams a lot of money as well. So
Where do we sign?
it's a it's a crazy bluff. It is a crazy bluff, but it's not so crazy that actually, if the two keep standing off really, really far apart, that you know, something can happen. So we shall see.
Yeah, but Plymouth, like you mentioned, Plymouth just has to be careful because unlike London can play this game because there are so many other options in London. If the Pavilions does pull the offer from under the table, there's nowhere else in
Nothing.
Plymouth that you can go. So we would hate to go back to the Mayflower Center. I think the Plymouth Raiders have outgrown that. So you just have to be a tad careful.
You can try and go back there, but it's just rubble now, mate. You'd have to go to the Life Centre. So, but hey, look, I'm a Plymouth fan. It has to stay. I will chain myself.
Oh man,
Who will I chain myself to? Paul James's ankle to make sure that we don't go. But I think it's a big bluff. But just from a business perspective, I just had to chuck that out there. Anyway, that's it from me. We appreciate your ears and eyes. Don't forget to get involved with our Patreon. These next few weeks, we are about to be crazy, and it will all be behind closed doors in our Facebook private community page. You do not want FOMO. So go subscribe and enjoy your week. Drew, lead us out.
We've made it, guys. We appreciate all of you guys coming on this journey with us. And, when we started this back in September or whenever we started, who knew that we would still be here this quickly? But we're here 33 episodes in with an eye on the playoffs. Thank you all to our listeners out there, our supporters. We know all you guys are cheering for us out there. So from Jay and I and to the crew behind the scenes, we all thank you for your support. And you know what it is. Same time, next week, same place. We're signing off on the show.
The show.